Unit 4.4 My Financial Career by Stephen Leacock. Introduction. This is a humorous story about how the narrator gets nervous every time he enters a bank and what foolish mistakes he makes due to his nervousness. Module 1. When I go into a bank, I get rattled, which means nervous. The clerks rattle me. The wickets, which means a service window in a bank, rattle me. The sight of the money rattles me. Everything rattles me. The moment I cross the threshold of a bank, I am a hesitating jay, which means a foolish person. If I attempt to transact business there, I become an irresponsible idiot. I knew this beforehand, but my salary had been raised to $50 a month, and I felt that the bank was the only place for it. So I shambled in, which means walked slowly, and looked timidly, which means fearfully, around at the clerks. I had an idea that a person about to open an account must need consult the manager. I went up to a wicket marked accountant. The accountant was a tall, cool devil. The very sight of him rattled me. My voice was sepulchral, which means gloomy. "Can I see the manager?" I said, and added solemnly, "Alone?" I don't know why I said alone. "Certainly," said the accountant and fetched him. The manager was a grave, calm man. I held my $56 clutched, which means held tightly, in a crumpled ball in my pocket. "Are you the manager?" I said. God knows I didn't doubt it. "Yes," he said. "Can I see you?" I asked. "Alone?" I didn't want to say alone again, but without it the thing seemed self-evident, which means obvious. The manager looked at me in some alarm, which means shockingly. He felt that I had an awful secret to reveal. "Come in here," he said, and led the way to a private room. He turned the key. "We are safe from interruption, which means disturbance here," he said. "Sit down." We both sat down and looked at one another. I found no voice to speak. Explanation. The narrator starts the write-up by telling the readers how he is extremely frightened of going to a bank. He had a kind of a phobia of banks. The moment he enters a bank, he becomes so nervous that he comes across as a foolish and stupid person. He knows about his fear but has to go because of a raise in salary, and he had to deposit his savings in the bank. So he goes to the bank to open an account and foolishly asks to meet the manager, that too alone. The manager takes him to a private room thinking he had some secret to reveal. Module 2. "You are one of Pinkerton's men, I presume?" he said. He had gathered from my mysterious manner that I was a detective, which means a private investigator. I knew what he was thinking, and it made me worse. "No, not from Pinkerton's," I said, seemingly to imply that I had come from a rival agency, which means a competitor. "To tell the truth," I went on, as if I had been prompted, which means encouraged, to lie about it. "I am not a detective at all. I have come to open an account. I intend to keep all my money in this bank." The manager looked relieved, which means reassured, but still serious. He concluded now that I was a son of Baron Rothschild or a young Gould. These are names of the wealthiest and the most influential people at that time. "A large account, I suppose," he said. "Fairly large," I whispered. "I propose to deposit $56 now and $50 a month regularly." The manager got up and opened the door. He called to the accountant. "Mr. Montgomery," he said, unkindly loud. "This gentleman is opening an account. He will deposit $56. Good morning." I rose. A big iron door stood open at the side of the room. "Good morning," I said, and stepped into the safe. "Come out," said the manager coldly and showed me the other way. I went up to the accountant's wicket and poked the ball of money at him with a quick, convulsive movement, which means in a sudden movement, as if I were doing a conjuring trick, which means a magical trick. My face was ghastly pale, which means colorless due to fear. My face was ghastly pale, which means colorless due to fear. "Here," I said, "deposit it." The tone of the words seemed to mean, "Let us do this painful thing while the fit is on us." He took the money and gave it to another clerk. He made me write the sum on a slip and sign my name in a book. I no longer knew what I was doing. The bank swam before my eyes. "Is it deposited?" I asked in a hollow, vibrating voice, which means a shaky voice. "It is," said the accountant. Explanation. The manager thought named Pinkertons. After some time, the narrator revealed to the manager that he had come to deposit his money in the bank. Once again, the manager misunderstood him, thinking he wanted to deposit a large amount. When the narrator told him he wanted to deposit $56, the manager was quite shocked and even annoyed. Finally, he told the accountant to do the needful. The accountant then gave him a slip and told him to fill it. The narrator was now in a state of panic. Module 3. Then I want to draw a check. My idea was to draw out $6 of it for present use. Someone gave me a checkbook through a wicket and someone else began telling me how to write it out. The people in the bank had the impression that I was an invalid millionaire, which means a worthless millionaire. I wrote something on the check and thrust, which means pushed it at the clerk. He looked at it. "What? Are you drawing it all out again?" he asked in surprise. Then I realized that I had written 56 instead of 6. I was too far gone to reason now. I had a feeling that it was impossible to explain the thing. All the clerks had stopped writing to look at me. Reckless with misery, I made a plunge, which means was so hopeless that I just didn't care and went ahead with the decision. Yes, the whole thing. "You withdraw your money from the bank?" "Every cent of it." "Are you not going to deposit anymore?" said the clerk, astonished, which means surprised. "Never." An idiot hope struck me that they might think something had insulted me while I was writing the check and that I had changed my mind. I made a wretched attempt, which means a miserable attempt, to look like a man with a fearfully quick temper, which means one who gets angry quickly. The clerk prepared to pay the money. "How will you have it?" he said. "What? How will you have it?" Oh, I caught his meaning and answered without even trying to think. "In 50s. He gave me a $50 bill. "And the 6? he asked dryly. "In 6s, I said. He gave it to me and I rushed out. As the big doors swung behind me, I caught the echo of a roar of laughter that went up to the ceiling of the bank. Since then, I bank no more. I keep my money in cash in my trousers pocket and my savings in silver dollars in a sock. Explanation. As soon as the narrator had deposited the money, he stupidly asked for withdrawing some money back. He wanted to take out $6 for his use. As he was already so nervous, he made a stupid mistake by writing all the amount he had deposited. The clerks were shocked and started looking at him. He now pretended as if he had been offended and was angry. Finally, the clerk paid him and he walked out, while everyone in the bank laughed loudly. Since then, the narrator never went to a bank.